Bible in a Year. The Message Version, January 5. Genesis chapter 11, verse 1 through chapter 13, verse 4. At one time, the whole earth spoke the same language. It so happened that as they moved out of the east, they came upon a plain of land in Shinar and settled down. They said to one another, "Come, let's make bricks and fire them well." They used brick for stone and tar for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let's build ourselves a city and a tower that reaches heaven. Let's make ourselves famous so we won't be scattered here and there and across the earth." God came down to look over the city and the tower those people had built. God took one look and said, "One people, one language? Why, this is only the first step. No telling what they'll come up with next. They'll stop at nothing. Come, we'll go down and garble their speech so they won't understand each other." Then God scattered them from there all over the world, and they had to quit building the city. That's how it came to be called Babel, because there God turned their language into Babel. From there, God scattered them all over the world. This is the story of Shem. When Shem was 100 years old, he had Aphracdad. It was 2 years after the flood. After he had Aphracdad, he lived 500 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Aphracdad was 35 years old, he had Shaliah. After Aphracdad had Shaliah, he lived 403 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Shaliah was 30 years old, he had Eber. After Shaliah had Eber, he lived 403 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Eber was 34 years old, he had Peleg. After Eber had Peleg, he lived 430 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Peleg was 30 years old, he had Reu. After he had Reu, he lived 209 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Reu was 32 years old, he had Serug. After Reu had Serug, he lived 207 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Serug was 30 years old, he had Noror. After Serug had Noror, he lived 200 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Noror was 29 years old, he had Terah. After Noror had Terah, he lived 119 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Terah was 70 years old, he had Abraham, Norah, and Haran. This is the story of Terah. Terah had Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. Haran had Lot. Haran died before his father Terah in the country of his family, and of Chaldees. Abraham and Nahor each got married. Abraham's wife was Sarah. Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of his brother Haran. Haran had 2 daughters, Milcah and Iscah. Sarah was barren. She had no children. Terah took his son Abraham, his grandson Lot, Haran's son, and Sarah, his daughter-in-law, his son Abraham's wife, and set out with them from of the Chaldees for the land of Canaan. But when they got as far as Haran, they settled down there. Terah lived 205 years. He died in Haran. God told Abraham, "Leave your country, your family, and your father's home for a land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation and bless you. I will make you famous. You'll be a blessing. I'll bless those who bless you. Those who curse you, I'll curse. All the families of the earth will be blessed through you." So Abraham left just as God said, and Lot left with him. Abraham was 75 years old when he left Haran. Abram took his wife Sarah and his nephew Lot with him, along with all their possessions and people they had gotten in Haran, and set out for the land of Canaan and arrived safely and sound. Abraham passed through the country as far as Shechem and the oak of Moreh. At the time the Canaanites occupied the land, God appeared to Abram and said, "I will give you this land to your children." Abram built an altar to the place God had appeared to him. He moved on from there to the hill country east of Bethel and pitched his tent between Bethel to the west and Ai to the east. He built an altar there and prayed to God. Abraham kept moving, steadily making his way south to Negev. Then a famine came to the land. Abram went down to Egypt to live. It was a hard famine. As he drew near to Egypt, he said to his wife, Sarah, "Look, we both know that you're a beautiful woman. When the Egyptians see you, they're going to say, 'Ha, that's his wife, kill him.' But they'll let you live. Do me a favor. Tell them you're my sister. Because of you, they'll welcome me and let me live." When Abram arrived in Egypt, the Egyptians took one look and saw that his wife is stunningly beautiful. Pharaoh's princes raved over her to Pharaoh. She was taken to live with Pharaoh. Because of her, Abram got along very well. He accumulated sheep and cattle, male and female donkeys, men and women servants, and camels. But God hit Pharaoh hard because of Abram's wife Sarah. Everybody in the palace got seriously sick. Pharaoh called for Abram. "What's this you've done to me? Why didn't you tell me that she's your wife? Why did you say she's my sister, so that I take her as my wife? Here's your wife back. Take her and get out." Pharaoh ordered his men to get Abram out of the country. They sent him and his wife and everything he owned on their way. So Abram left Egypt and went back to Negev, he and his wife and everything he owned, and Lot still with him. By now Abram was very rich, loaded with cattle and silver and gold. He moved on from Negev, camping along the way to Bethel, the place he had first set up his tent between Bethel and Ai, and built his first altar. Abram prayed there to God. Matthew chapter 5, verse 1 through verse 26. When Jesus saw his ministry drawing huge crowds, he climbed a hillside. Those who were apprenticed to him, the committed, climbed with him. Arriving at a quiet place, he sat down and taught his climbing companions. This is what he said: "You're blessed when you're at the end of your rope. With less of you, there's more of God and His rule. You're blessed when you feel you've lost what is most dear to you. Only then can you be embraced by the one most dear to you. You're blessed when you're content with just who you are, no more, no less. That's the moment you find yourselves proud owners of everything that can't be bought. You're blessed when you've worked up a good appetite for God. He's food and drink in the best meal you've ever had. You're blessed when you care. At the moment of being careful, you find yourselves cared for. You're blessed when you get your inside world, your mind and heart, put right. Then you can see God in the outside world. You're blessed when you can show people how to cooperate instead of compete or fight. That's when you discover who you really are and your place in God's family. You're blessed when your commitment to God provokes persecution. The persecution drives you even deeper into God's kingdom. Not only that, count yourselves blessed every time people put you down or throw you out or speak lies about you to discredit me. What it means is that the truth is too close for comfort and they're uncomfortable. You can be glad when this happens. Give a cheer even, for though they don't like it, I do, and all heaven applauds. And know that you are in good company. My prophets and witnesses have always gotten into this kind of trouble. Let me tell you why you are here. You're here to be salt seasoning that brings out the God flavors of this earth. If you lose your saltiness, how will people taste godliness? You've lost your usefulness and will end up in the garbage. Here's another way to put it. You're here to be light, bringing out the God colors in the world. God is not a secret to be kept. We're going public with this, as public as a city on a hill. If I make you light bearers, you don't think I'm going to hide you under a bucket, do you? I'm putting you on a light stand. Now that I've put you there on a hilltop, on a light stand, shine. Keep open house. Be generous with your lives. By opening up to others, you'll prompt people to open up with God, this generous Father in heaven. Don't suppose for a minute that I have come to demolish the scriptures, either God's law or the prophets. I'm not here to demolish, but to complete. I'm going to put it all together, pull it all together in a vast panorama. God's law is more real and lasting than the stars in the sky and the ground at your feet. Long after stars burn out and earth wears away, God's law will be alive and working. Trivialize even the smallest item in God's law, and you will only have trivialized yourself. But take it seriously. Show the way for others, and you will find honor in the kingdom. Unless you do far better than the Pharisees in the matters of right living, you won't know the first thing about entering the kingdom. You're familiar with the command, do not murder. I'm telling you that anyone who is so angry with his brother or sister is guilty of murder. Carelessly call a brother idiot, and you might as well find yourself hauled into court. Thoughtlessly yell stupid at a sister, and you are on the brink of hellfire. The simple moral fact is that words kill. This is how I want you to conduct yourselves in these matters. If you enter your place of worship and, about to make an offering, you suddenly remember a grudge a friend has against you, abandon your offering, leave immediately. Go to this friend and make things right. Then, and only then, come back and work things out with God. Or say you're out in the street and an old enemy accosts you. Don't lose a minute. Make the first move. Make things right with Him. After all, if you leave the first move to Him, knowing His track record, you're likely to end up in court, maybe even in jail. If that happens, you won't get out without a stiff fine. Psalm chapter 5, verse 1 through verse 12, a David psalm. Listen, God. Please pay attention. Can you make sense of these ramblings? My groans and cries. King God, I need your help. Every morning you'll hear me at it again. Every morning I lay out the pieces of my life on your altar and watch for fire to descend. You don't socialize with wicked or invite evil over as your house guest. Hot air boasters collapse in front of you. You shake your head over mischief makers. God destroys lie speakers. Bloodthirsty and truth bender disgust you. And here I am, your invited guest. It's incredible. I enter your house. Here I am, prostrate in your inner sanctum, waiting for directions to get me safely through enemy lines. Every word they speak is a landmine. Their lungs breathe out poison gas. Their throats are gaping graves. Their tongues slick as mudslides. Pile on the guilt, God. Let their so-called wisdom wreck them. Kick them out. They've had their chance. But you'll welcome us with open arms when we run for cover to you. Let the party last all night. Stand guard over our celebration. You are famous, God, for welcoming God seekers, for decking us out in delight. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 29 through verse 33. Because you hated knowledge and had nothing to do with the fear of God, because you wouldn't take my advice and brushed aside all my offers to train you, well, you've made your bed, now lie in it. You wanted your own way, now how do you like it? Don't you see what happens? You simpletons, you idiots. Carelessness kills. Complacency is murder. First, pay attention to me, and then relax. Now, you can take it easy. You're in good hands. This was a daily reading from the Message version of the Bible, read to you by Bible in a Year.